Hey, this is Rebecca Westman, and you're listening to the Wedding Collective podcast. I'm a Canadian wedding photographer based on the border of Alberta and Saskatchewan. Hey, Lloydminster! Welcome to your local go-to podcast for all things wedding planning. I'll be sitting down with real-life couples and local wedding vendors, connecting you to the best of the best in the Lloydminster area. Plus, I'll be sharing my own experiences as a wedding photographer, offering insights and advice on what I've learned while working with my couples. So, whether you're sipping coffee with your wedding planning checklist or just daydreaming about your perfect day, this podcast is your new best friend. Stay tuned for inspiring conversations, valuable insights, and a whole lot of love. This is the Wedding Collective podcast. Let the wedding adventure begin. Hello, Jenelle. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good. It's so nice to see your face again. It's been a while.
It's been too long.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think, when did we do your engagement session? Do you remember what month that was?
That was back in June.
It was June. Oh my goodness. So guys, Jenelle is one of my 2024 brides. So she is currently in the middle of planning her wedding. We did her engagement shoot, like you said, back in June. But yeah, I thought it would be really fun to have some of my brides who are in the middle of the planning process come on the podcast, since this whole podcast is about planning your wedding.
Absolutely. And I don't know, I feel like I'm also looking for advice for myself. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be much help to people, because I feel like I also tell me what to do. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, but you know what? It's always nice to know that you're not alone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not the only person planning a wedding. And so it's I thought it'd be cool to get the perspective of someone who's in the middle of it. So I guess to get started, just tell us about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up on a farm just south of Lloyd. I went to school in Paradise Valley from kindergarten to grade 12. I moved to Red Deer for 4 years to complete my nursing program. That's where I took my nursing. And then, after my schooling was done, I moved back home and started my career at the Lloyd Hospital and everything. And kind of while I was in Red Deer, that's when I met Brendan. That's a whole other story. But I still currently work as a nurse and live in Lloyd. And that's pretty much my story in a nutshell.
That's awesome. What kind of nursing do you do?
Just basically I work on the medical floor, so general medicine. I work in assisted living, kind of a mix of both that keeps me on my toes, keeps me busy, keeps me guessing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I just love talking to nurses because, I have so much respect for you guys and what you guys do. Okay, so you kind of hinted at it there, but I would love to hear all about your story, like how you guys met and everything.
Yes, of course. So we met mostly at a family wedding. We had met very, very briefly prior to this wedding. It was my sister's wedding. I was in the bridal party, and we were kind of waiting to make our grand entrance into the reception. It was at Rolling Greens. We were waiting in a little back hallway where the bathrooms were. Mm-hmm. And as we were waiting to make our grand entrance, Brendan walked out of the bathroom and we made eye contact. And as cliche as it sounds, it was like sparks. It was like fireworks. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever had. And even one of my friends just kind of turned to me after and was like, "What just happened?" And I don't know. So, long story short, we danced the night away, and he ended up asking my mom to dance to see if he could get my number. Apparently, the rumor has it at one point throughout the night, a part of the night, I don't really remember. I guess I told his uncle I was going to marry him one day, so...
That guy over there.
Yeah. And like I said, I was in Red Deer at the time, so did start out dating through long distance, and we did long distance for 5 years.
Wow.
That was a big chunk of our relationship, kind of getting to know each other, kind of build a life together through long distance. That was no piece of cake for sure. So about 3 years ago, he moved up to Lloyd here, and not long after, we bought our first home, and now we're getting married.
Yahoo, that's awesome. So where is Brendan from then? He's not from Lloyd?
No, he's originally from Oyen, Alberta. It's about 2 hours south of Lloyd.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is a really fun story. Like a literal, like, love at first sight type of story. I love it.
Yeah, and yeah, like I said, we had met very briefly prior.
Hmm.
He happened to come out to my family farm to look at an old truck. And yeah, we met briefly then, and there was nothing. And then fast forward a few months later, and a whole other different story.
Sparks are flying. I love
Be
it.
a cra-
Oh, that is really fun. So, another
yeah,
benefit to weddings, you never know who you're going to meet there, hey?
that's right. That's right.
Maybe one day there will be like a new love story that originated at your wedding.
That would just be the best. And
It's like
actually,
pay it forward.
yeah, exactly. Our reception will be at Rolling Greens, and that's where the wedding was that we met at. So it's kind of comes full circle.
That is actually so sweet. I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me some more about your wedding day then. So your reception is going to be at Rolling Greens. What else can you tell me about what you've been planning?
Yeah, for sure. Our ceremony is going to be on my family farm where I grew
Mhm.
up. I think that'd be really, really special to do that. So we're going to have the ceremony out there, and then yeah, have the reception at Rolling Greens. And we have four bridesmaids, four groomsmen, and everything. And yeah, just trying to kind of create that. I don't know, kind of retro, minimalistic, neutral vibe with our wedding. That's kind of the theme I'm going for. A lot of
I
baby's
love it.
breath, a lot of, yeah, just trying to keep it super simple. Nothing too drastic as for decor and all that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you like what are your colors and stuff?
Very, yeah, very neutral.
Very minimal.
Yeah,
A lot of cream, you said?
yeah,
Yeah, okay. I think it just cut out. That's awesome. It's just like to me that sounds like classic, timeless, always in style.
yes, timeless. That's a great way to see it. Just, yeah, very timeless and minimalistic.
I love that. That I do really, really like that look.
Right.
And it's one of those things like I mean, I also love it when people do something totally different and out there because it's kind of exciting. But there's something to be said about that classic timeless look because like literally you will always look back and it won't be like strange. You know what I mean? It'll just be like, oh, this is always nice. It's always in.
Yeah, just something simple and timeless. And I know when I look back at my photos in 20, 30 years, I'll still hopefully like them and be like,
Yeah,
oh no,
yeah.
vision, what was I thinking?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a good thing.
Mhm.
So, how big is your guest list?
Roughly right now we have a guest list of 140.
Nice.
The most I would want, we both come from pretty large families and everything and have a lot of friends and family we want there. So, yeah, it was kind of inevitable to have quite a larger guest list and everything. But roughly 140 is kind of where we're sitting right now.
It's not like crazy big, but it's definitely on the bigger side of things.
Yeah, definitely. And we have, yeah, a lot of family, like mostly, obviously, Brendan not being from here. All of his family essentially is traveling to Lloyd for this wedding. So,
Mhm.
yeah, have a lot of out of towners coming by, which will be a lot of fun.
That's always really exciting, right? To see a bunch of people that you don't get to see all of the time.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So, how is the wedding planning going so far? Just overall, like, how are you feeling? How are things going?
Honestly, so far so good. I don't want to eat my words or knock on wood, but it's been not as stressful as I thought it was going to be. I don't know if it's because we've had a longer engagement. I was able to kind of take my time, think about what I wanted, kind of create my vision, and take time to book vendors that I actually wanted. I wasn't rushed and trying to book and plan things. So I think that's really helped. On the other hand, it would have been nice to kind of have a shorter engagement just to kind of get it over with and get things going and get just married. But I do like how we have done things. Just have a longer engagement, more time to think about things and figure out what we want and that sort of thing. So it's definitely created a lot less stress having a longer engagement. So, but I'm sure that stress will come the closer we get to the date.
It might. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, when did you guys get engaged?
We got engaged last December, so December of 2022.
Okay.
Feels like forever ago, but
But that'll get you at about what, like a year and a half then?
About a year and a half, because it was kind of in that sweet spot where we got engaged in December, so to get married that next summer, it would have been a little stressful.
Yes, that would have been really quick.
Yeah, like to me to get things booked and everything, I would have been stressed.
It would
So,
have been tough too to find vendors at that point.
exactly. So it was kind of right in that sweet spot. So we figured, no, we'll just wait the year and just take our time. I've waited 9 years. I can wait another year.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and it does. That will take some stress off of things. And like you said, you kind of probably got to handpick your vendors, get exactly who you wanted and get the venue you wanted and everything.
Exactly. And even we got engaged in December, and even in January, I was starting to book things. And even then, dates were getting slim. So it's crazy how quick things booked up. So if I had a tip of any sort, it would be if you can have a longer engagement, if you do want the vendors that you would like.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't know if everybody realizes how early people book because, for us vendors, we're dealing with couples all the time. So we get it. We understand. But when you're getting married for the first time, like you don't know, you have no clue. And it sounds a bit crazy to be like, what? Like I should be booking my vendors a year and a half in advance? Like that sounds nuts, right? But what ends up happening is, from my perspective as a wedding vendor, I will get people trying to book me in the same year. And it's like, I'm turning so many people away, just being like, I'm so sorry, I'm already booked for that date. And I feel terrible. But I'm sending them to other people, but who knows if they're booked. And I mean, every once in a while it works out a little last minute, but really like it's tough, especially when you're contacting so many different vendors. Like, oh, I wouldn't want to be piecing it together the year of.
Exactly. And even like as a photographer, like how are you finding this coming up summer? Like, are you booked up? Like, what's your schedule like?
Yeah, it's really nice. My family, like my husband is a teacher, and so he gets the summers off. So sometimes I book out certain weeks or weekends in the summer so that I just know I'm gone because we leave. We are gone all summer. And we camp. We have a camper and we love to travel. We go to the mountains. We go all over the place with our camper and explore and adventure and take our kids, of course. And so I'm gone a lot in the summer. So I book a lot of weddings in the spring and in the fall. And then I have like a few kind of sprinkled throughout the summer. But yeah, I have quite a few this year. And actually, I haven't told you this yet, which is kind of funny. But I'm going to be in BC. My husband is an ultra marathon runner. And so he is running this like really, really big race out in Squamish, BC this summer. And we are heading out to camp there. And so I'm going to we're already going to be kind of west. And then we're going to go further west into BC all the way to Squamish. And I'm going to be camping there. And then I am going to book a flight from Vancouver to either Edmonton, probably Edmonton. And so I will have to have left my car there because they canceled the flight to Lloyd. And then I'm going to drive to Lloyd and do your wedding. And then I'm going to go back. It's going to be great. I'm actually so excited. I'm going to have I'm going to come home like a few days before your wedding because I'm like terrified of flights going wrong. So I'm going to come home a few days before your wedding and then I'll shoot your wedding and then I'll leave a few days after. So I'll have about a week like just to myself. So I'm kind of excited about it.
Well, I'm so happy you're excited and not stressed. Is that
No, I'm not stressed. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, and then I'll get back and then he'll actually have his race, I think, the following weekend. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
Oh,
it's just kind of fun to get to do something different like that. So I might do a couple more sessions while I'm in town too. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting because that's gonna be a first for me is to fly home for a wedding because like I said, that's what my summers look like. We are gone most of the summer. So
right.
I am very kind of picky when it comes to which weddings I'll take on in the summer. Yeah. So anyway, but I'm super pumped for yours, especially after meeting you guys at your engagement session. I was like, okay, I love these people. This was a really good fit. Okay. So I guess the next thing I want to know from you is what are some of the challenges that you have faced while wedding planning?
The biggest challenge I would say is Instagram overwhelm. I feel like Instagram is a blessing and a curse on a one.
Welcome to my life.
I feel like on one hand, I get all these ideas and I'm like, oh, how did people plan weddings like
Mhm.
before Instagram, like having all the inspiration and everything. But
Mhm.
eventually that kind of gets old and then it kind of gets a bit overwhelming because you get all these ideas and you don't know what you want to do. And it also kind of creates like an unrealistic expectation as well. Like your wedding has to be these extravagant weddings you see on Instagram
Mhm.
where people have loads of money and blah, blah, blah. And it
Yeah.
becomes overwhelming because you want to do all these great things, but you kind of have to ground yourself a little bit and be like, okay, what is important to me for my wedding day and what can I afford and what is doable kind of with the resources within your community and everything. So I think that's been my biggest challenge is kind of just keeping myself grounded and being realistic with my vision and kind of what I'm wanting and yeah, what's a need and what's a want.
I think that is so interesting. Like, that's a really good point. Tempering those expectations in a way, right? Because there is so much out there, and some people are spending like a life's fortune on their wedding, and that's just not realistic for everybody.
It's unreal what people are willing to spend. And if you can't, go for it. Like,
Yeah.
if it means, have at her. But, it's coming from this neck of the woods, and, everyone's like finances, everyone's situation is different. And I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of people feel like they have to have such extravagant weddings. And we don't, the main.
Yeah, I think it's very important to start the whole planning process with figuring out your budget. And every other week I've been doing these, or I'm starting, this podcast is brand new right now. As we're recording this, I just released it last week. So every other week I'm planning to do a wedding planning 101 episode where I just jump on and talk about one aspect of the wedding planning process. And my very first episode was so it's actually episode number 2 in the podcast is all about budgeting, right? And having that be the first place you start, because like you just said, everybody has their own budget, right? And you really got to figure that out between you and your partner and start there and figure out what's realistic. And also, I talked about choosing the parts of the wedding that are most important to you. Like someone might think like florals by far are the most important thing to me. That's where like a big part of our budget is going. Or others might be like photography. That's what I want more than anything. Or it's the venue. Like I've always wanted to get married at this one place, right? Or that's what you just dreamed of. And so that's where you're putting your money, right? Like it's going to be different for everyone, but that's a great starting point, right? Is figuring those things out so that when you're scrolling through Instagram and you're seeing all the things, you can kind of try to reel it back in and be like, oh yeah, okay, this wasn't for us. This one aspect isn't necessarily the priority. We're putting more money into this other aspect that's more important to us.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I actually listened to your budgeting podcast this morning. It was so good.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's super helpful to kind of know kind of where to start and where to end basically with your budgeting. And yeah, it's a huge aspect I didn't realize was so important. And I feel like when you initially get engaged, it's also exciting, you want to get started, you have all these plans and you get booking stuff and you kind of get down a rabbit hole and then you go, oh crap, once the final deposits start rolling in and you realize how much you're already in, it can be huge. So yeah, just setting that boundary in the first place is huge for just creating your expectations for your wedding.
Right. In a perfect world, if you started with that budgeting, then everything else is going to kind of fit into place after that, right? And
Yeah.
again, that looks different for everybody depending on your situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's so interesting though. Like, do you find you are on Instagram more than Pinterest, or do you use both?
Instagram for sure, more than Pinterest. I am
Mhm.
using both. I have a vision board on both. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but I feel like Instagram, it's quick. You see these videos, and it kind of
Mhm.
creates a more realistic picture when it has all the videos and the short reels and everything. You kind of get more sucked into it. a little bit.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, I guess once they started adding that feature, like it was a while ago now, but now that you can save pins and like create different boards in in Instagram, right? Like that is almost like acting like Pinterest now, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So then on the flip side, what have you enjoyed most about your wedding planning process so far?
I have enjoyed just seeing my vision come to life. Yeah, like I kind of touched on before, it's been nice having a longer engagement to kind of sit down and figure out what I want and what's realistic. And yeah, just seeing my vision come to life. It's been really, really special seeing all my thoughts come to fruition, and it's been super, super exciting. That's my most special part right now of all the planning process.
Oh, that is awesome. Because there's so many moving parts, right? And so to see that starting to come all together and mesh, right? I'm sure that's very exciting. You can really see it now, right?
I definitely can. Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. Because,
Yeah.
okay, wait, you're only like 6 months away.
Oh, I actually got a notification on my phone a few days ago. It was like 6 months away, and I wanted to throw up. Oh my God.
Do you feel nervous or do you just feel like it's the planning stuff that's overwhelming?
The planning stuff is overwhelming. I'm definitely, I mean, right now I'm not nervous. I'm sure that will come, most definitely. But yeah, as of right now, it's just more or less like all the stuff I have to do still and make the decisions I have to make, and a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, what's left on your to-do list?
Basically just waiting for my dress to come in. Be mid-March. Just kind of assigning roles for people and that sort of thing. What else? That's honestly pretty much it.
That's
Yeah,
exciting.
not a lot. Kind of just some fine details right now.
Wow, that's so nice. And yeah, they can add up. Those details can like add up for being time consuming, but it is nice once you've got those big items just out of the way.
Yes, definitely.
So
And I
you
even
just sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like I even find myself kind of really worrying about the fine details. Like, for example, like at the ceremony, like where are we going to walk from? Who's going to, wave us over to start walking and that sort of thing. And I feel like I'm stressing myself out over those little things.
Don't worry,
But
that's my job. That's totally my job. So that's so funny. Yeah, and at Rolling Greens, there's like a really great back room that you can hide in.
yes,
And think about it. I'll be up taking pictures of Brendan and all the guys and all your guests and all the details and stuff. And
perfect.
then when it's time, I'll
Yeah.
probably be the one to come back there and be like, all right, you guys, it's go time.
See, that's why
Right?
you're
So don't worry about that detail.
perfect. I know that
Yeah, there you go.
a friend about this, and she even said like it's a good thing you're worrying about that, because that means that part's not going to get missed in your wedding day. It's going to be, you'll get it figured out. It's taken care of, so everything will run just fine.
It will. And yeah, like delegate when you can, because more than likely, like your people are going to want to be helpful to you. And so
Right.
give people jobs. So it doesn't all have to land on you and be like only living in your brain when you already have so much to think about. And then you can pass some things off so that you can just relax and enjoy and be present.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping. I look forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Have you discovered any helpful tips or resources that you would want to share with any other newly engaged couples who are kind of in that wedding planning process right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of my really good friends, Nick, she has this brand called A Girl with a Planner, and she has created these journals and planners and wedding planners. And I swear this thing has been a lifesaver. You see all these planners, on Etsy and Pinterest and blah, 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 but it was so nice to have hers in my hands, and it's so helpful. It literally goes over everything you're ever going to need. It even goes through like post engagement, and it goes down like month to month what you should be planning, getting closer to your wedding date. And with all the moving parts and everything you have to plan and everything, it's so nice just to know like, okay, what do I need to be focusing on right now? And she goes through all that with you, and there's a whole bunch of like places for notes for like kind of do a brain dump and everything. It goes through everything you're ever going to need regarding planning a wedding. So that's been beyond helpful and everything. So I'd highly recommend getting one of those. Girl with a Planner. It's on Etsy and Instagram.
Okay, awesome. Girl with a planner. You guys got to
Yeah.
check that out for sure. I'm going to check that out. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I should get one.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome. Or have a link for all of my, like, I would love to look at one and then maybe I could send everybody that way. That's
Yeah,
sweet.
absolutely.
That's awesome. So yeah, for sure check that out, you guys. And so what are you most excited for when you think about your wedding day?
Oh gosh. Honestly, just having a husband. That's what I'm most excited for. It's just
Mhm.
taking that next step in our relationship and starting our life together. That's what I'm most excited for. And obviously being a bride. I mean, who's not going to be excited for that? But definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the first chapter in our new life together, and I'm just so excited to get that started. It's going to be such a special day.
Oh, it will. And yeah, I love that. Actually, that's a great answer because that's one thing I think is so important that should be top of mind is that, like, I know weddings there are so many details and so much planning involved, and some brides can get really stressed out. But, like, at the end of the day, the most important thing is actually the marriage. Right.
Absolutely.
And so this is all like a big party to celebrate that and like have the official ceremony. It's so exciting. But really, then, like, what happens after that? It's your marriage. And that's that's the whole point of everything you're doing. And like, just to always keep that top of mind, that perspective, right?
Absolutely. And I feel like a lot of people lose focus too with planning a wedding. It becomes about the wedding and the party. But it's about your marriage and coming together as one. It kind of makes me a little bit emotional. And you think about this day for so long and you envision it, and the fact that it's actually coming to fruition. Like that's what it's all about is you and your partner becoming one, and that's so special.
Yeah, and you know what? And then going back to like wedding day or that timeline in your day, then like making sure that your actual wedding day has pockets of time for just the two of you, just to soak that in. And like, yeah, pictures are sometimes the perfect time for that because especially once we get the family pictures out of the way, we get the wedding party pictures out of the way, and then it's just you two, and you can like have a moment when you're just focusing on like, holy smokes, this is really happening. Like it's just so special. And then I get to capture that for you, that moment of like, this is it. Like, it's,
Yes.
look at you guys. It's so
Oh,
exciting.
so exciting. I cannot wait.
Me either. I'm so excited. Hey guys, I hope you are enjoying hearing from a bride who is right in the middle of planning her wedding and that this episode is super helpful for you as you plan your big day. Now, are you still looking for a wedding photographer? I would love to work with you. Simply head over to my website, www.rebeccawestman.com/contact, and send me an inquiry. If I'm free for your date, we will chat and start the planning process. I'm mostly booking into 2025 right now, but I still have a couple of dates left in 2024. It just depends on your date. So for sure, reach out and we'll see what we can do. Enjoy the rest of the episode. So let's talk more about photos. So engagement session. I absolutely love every minute of your engagement session. Can you tell by how many like photos I post?
Oh, I know. I am obsessed with the photos. Like they perfectly captured the kind of vibe I'm going for and everything. Like they were just perfect. And the location, perfect. Like it checked
I
all the boxes.
know. I honestly, I'm obsessed with those photos too. It was just like one of those moments when I got home and was editing the photos. I was like, I can't stop editing these. Like, I am just going to like fly through these because I am obsessed with them and I can't wait to post them. And I'm going to be posting them for like years because I love them so much.
Same.
But it was so much fun. Okay, so had you guys ever had your photos taken, just the two of you, before?
We've just done a casual photo shoot with another local photographer, and
Nice.
oh goodness, that was I want to say five-ish years ago. So it had been a while, but yeah, we've had photos done before. But yeah, it's just something extra special about being engagement photos. Just makes it that much more special and exciting.
Yeah, it is fun, and you're showing off your ring, and
Yeah,
you're full of that excitement for sure.
definitely. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, what were you expecting going into our session?
Oh goodness. Well, I knew I was gonna be super comfortable, like being with you. You just have like such a way of just making us feel super comfortable, and even just like you give us movements to do for the photo, and it just makes the photo look super natural. It doesn't make it awkward or anything. Like, it just makes it super fun, and yeah, you make it so like enjoyable for people to have like the photos done. It's such an enjoyable experience.
Oh, that's great to hear. Yeah, I think that sometimes couples are nervous, like depending on your personality and like how you're going to feel in front of the camera. And a lot of people walk away feeling like, oh, that was like fun.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is great. It always makes me feel better. But it's like, I wish more people knew that going into it, right? Like, no, it's going to be okay. This is actually like a fun, like, I don't know, activity for you guys to do together.
Yeah, totally. And it's almost like a lot of pressure because it's almost like you have just one shot to get these photos and everything. It can be a lot of pressure. It can be stressful, which makes it less fun. But if you can try and just have the mindset of just go in and have fun, your photos are going to turn out just great.
Yeah, I'm sure that's so true. Yeah, that people are like, I want that like perfect engagement photo. Like, even just get one good one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, they're only that good when you can relax and have fun.
Exactly. And I know even the week, because I think we had our photos on the Friday or something, I want to say, even that whole week, it was rainy and miserable and stormy, and we were going to cancel. And you were like, nope, we're going to do it. It's going to be great. We're not going to cancel. It's going to be fantastic. And we just went with it. And it turned out to be the most stunning sunset, like the most
It was
beautiful
so
evening.
gorgeous. Yeah,
So,
that golden glow. It was just like your photos are like the epitome of that golden hour. Oh,
dreamy.
Dreamy indeed. So do you feel like having your engagement session has helped you with like expectations for your wedding day photos?
I would say so. Yeah, like for us, I feel like it would have been fine regardless. But I feel like for maybe some people, they just need that kind of to break the ice a little bit, kind of get like comfortable with you, and kind of get comfortable with kind of learning how to pose with your partner and everything. Yeah, an engagement session is definitely huge in how you're going to be on your wedding day. You know, even when on your wedding day with the added stress and your chaos, everything going on, it's definitely, you'll have that kind of just comfort already going into your wedding day photos based on the
Right. Yeah. That we kind of met and then had that
Ah.
experience, and then you guys kind of understand how I work, and
Yes.
and then also you got to see the results of the engagement photos, so you can be pretty excited for the other ones.
Exactly, yes.
Mhm.
And like I have used my engagement photos for save the dates, and I have it on our wedding website, and I plan on using it for our guest book too. I plan on making just like a book that people can sign and everything, have photos in there. So it's definitely worth your while because it can be so utilized, the photos. And Instagram of having nice photos to post helps too.
Yes, it does. Yeah, that's so true. But I love seeing the way that people like that my couples use the photos, and I always get really excited when I see like an invitation or something, or even on the wedding day. Like, I've had a couple people, they'll have wine bottles at every table, and they've put a photo of that I took on their wine bottles, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Just this little touch. And yeah, guest books and stuff like that as well.
That's so special.
It's so special. Yeah. Rather than just having like selfies or like little,
Yeah.
like little kind of grainy photos. They're like, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I think too, like, you guys were a couple that already came into the session and you were pretty comfortable. Like, I didn't feel like you guys were really nervous or like worried about being awkward in front of the camera. Like, you guys were pretty natural and just like comfortable already, which was great for me, right? From my side of things, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And it was great.
Glad.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about the wedding day. So you guys went with my biggest package, which includes a second shooter. So to me, that tells me that like your photos are super important to you. So yeah, I just wanted to ask you, I guess, why you chose to go with that package.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted the most amount of time because having photos of us getting ready is super important to me, because I also want to see like what Brendan was doing getting ready, because I'm not going to be with the photos of us getting ready. So it's kind of that aspect too. So, and obviously first looks and all that sort of thing is super important. So I wanted the wedding, I wanted the morning captured, but I also wanted a portion of the dance too, of people having fun and partying and dancing and all that sort of stuff. So I wanted definitely the most of the full day captures. That was really important to me. And then also with the second shooter as well, having kind of two people in two different spots taking photos is huge too, to take two different perspectives.
Yes, absolutely. Like it's so helpful actually for getting ready photos because well, it works so well throughout the whole day. So think of getting ready. I can send my second shooter to the guys and I can focus on you girls because I trust her like 100%. She's already booked, all good to go. And like she can go do the guys rather than me running back and forth and only having less time. Then you get like double the coverage for your time too, really.
Right.
And then, yeah, ceremony, you've got one photographer completely focused on the groom and your guests, and then I can be completely focused on you, right? So there's no missed shots. And then you've got wide angles, you've got close-ups all happening, right? It's just the best. And then, and then like, yeah, you move on. Family photos are pretty simple. And then when it comes to our portraits, like, again, same thing. You can be having all these different angles of the wedding party portraits and of just the two of you once that's time. Or I can send her to cocktail hour while I'm just focusing on the two of you. And she's getting more candids of your guests and detail shots of everything, like all your decor and whatever. How else do I use my second shooter? Like when it comes to like think about speeches, right? You would have one person that can just be focused on your guests' reactions, right?
Yes.
And those are sometimes my favorite candids, right? Is like someone tearing up and dabbing their eyes or someone laughing and the reactions are so good. And so rather than me being like here, there, trying to get everything at once, you've got that coverage. It's just like so relaxed and then at the end of the day, you're getting way more photos too.
Exactly.
And just no moment missed.
Totally. And that's something I never even thought of too, is getting like the guests' reactions of everything going on too. Yeah.
They're priceless. Those are like those true candids that are just like, they're the best. I love them. Which I still get when I don't have a second shooter. But what I'm saying is that it's way easier when you have a person who's completely focused on that aspect, right? And so it's just the best of the best, right? You're getting just, no moment missed. And like I said, then I just knew that, okay, this is really important to you, the photography side of things.
For
like
sure.
we were talking about at the beginning of this episode, when it comes to budgeting, for instance, like deciding what are the most important pieces to you.
Yes, and definitely photography was my top of the list for sure. I know how quickly the day goes by, and I know there's going to be moments I'm going to miss and moments I want to relive, and definitely photography and videography are definitely the way to do that. And I know a lot of people, again, like I said, everyone's situations are different, and I just I think photography is definitely top on the list for budgeting.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you have left afterwards, right? Is like, and I mean, everything adds to that. Your location adds to that. Your florals add to that. Everything kind of comes together and it makes the photos even better, right? But at the end of the day, you can have all those things. And if you don't have the coverage for photography, then you're just not going to have the same kind of amount of memories, right? So
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And then, backing up, you said you guys are doing a first look, hey?
I think so. I'm on the fence. I'm not sure if I want to do. Definitely not a first look, but doing our vows in private.
Okay. Yes.
Yes. Because I, knowing me, to say my vows in front of a crowd is not something I'm gonna want to do, nor will be able to do, because I'm gonna be crying so much. Mm-hmm. So I think it'd be really special just to do our vows in private. I just find vows private and special to begin with.
It's intimate, yeah.
So I think we'll definitely do those before the ceremony, just not looking at each other. I do want Brendan for the first time to see me as walking down the aisle, so
sweet.
Figure out a way to do them without seeing each other, but still be able to talk to each other. Maybe even do a first feel or a first touch, however you say that.
Oh my god, yeah, my brain is just like going off. I'm so excited. But if we find like a really cute spot where you guys can be like either back to back or like separated by an object like a tree or a door or something where you can like kind of still reach back and hold each other's hands. And
Ex-
oh my gosh,
I
I'm going to be crying. I'm going to be the one crying. I'm going to need the second shooter for that because I'm just going to.
Oh my God, you and me both. Oh my Lord.
Oh, that's so great. I love that. Yeah, I love that idea. And soon we will get into the nitty-gritty details of your timeline. Like we're getting closer and closer. Usually, like I always check in at 3 months with all my couples to be like, okay, now is the time where we're really going to go through the details of the day and figure out exactly how things are going to run. And we're getting
Absolutely.
pretty close. That's
We're getting
exciting.
holy crap.
I love it. Okay, and then you know what? I'd love to know, like during all your planning and like looking through Instagram, you've already talked to us about like what kind of vibe you're going for, but what kind of trends are you loving right now that you see?
Oh man. So like you said, definitely the candid photos, like photos you don't know are being taken are the best. The, natural responses and just the feels and the looks and everything. Definitely loving flash photography and kind of
Mm-hmm.
that like developed camera kind of look sort of thing, grainy photos and definitely like a film look.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those are all huge right now. It's like, you know how the 90s trend is like coming back in full force with like clothing
Totally.
and like all these things. Like it's definitely in the photography space too. And it's really fun. They're like the flash photography is really like dynamic and I don't edgy. Like there's like this edginess to it. It's like super fun.
Yeah, like kind of like that the blurry photos where, like
Yeah.
before a blurry photo would be like, "Oh, that's going to be deleted." Like that's no good. But no, that's a fantastic photo. Like that's kind of
It's like
the
art.
vibe.
It's a little more artsy and yeah, it's
Yeah,
like an intentionally blurry photo that, we're doing it in a moment that makes sense. Sometimes though we're doing them in moments that don't make sense and that's trendy. Like one thing that I see a lot of is flat lays. Like at the getting ready portion, you've got like your flat lays of all your details before you even have them on, right? You've got
yeah,
your jewelry and your shoes and your invites and florals and whatever, anything that you can have there. And some now I'm seeing these like intentionally blurry photos of those or like place settings at your reception or stuff like that. Like there's so many ways you can just like it's fun as a photographer to try these trends, especially
yeah.
when our couples are excited about them because it's like, all right, this is fun, like let's do some of this. And yeah, it just like adds a different like touch to your full gallery.
Totally, too. And I feel like too it also kind of like challenges like you too. Like for an example, like for engagement photos, like you even whipped out of your pocket like a thing of nylons because you knew I wanted to try like the
Yeah.
nylon thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the photos turned out fantastic and it's just so fun to experiment with that type of thing. And yeah, if it works,
Absolutely.
if it doesn't, that's fine.
Oh, exactly. And you know what? I think that it's fun because you can take a lot of classic photos. Like, I'm not going to take 100% blurry photos, right? That wouldn't make any
Right.
sense. But you have these like touches in your full album at the end of the day. And it also is that, okay, so then we were talking about like having, like making choices, color choices and stuff that are timeless.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also add these kind of funky trends in, and then that kind of tells a story of the time, right? So then, like you said, in 20, 30 years, you can look back, you're still going to love everything because you've made these classic, timeless choices. And then you're going to have these like photos that also really tell the story of the time when you got married and what was kind of cool, what was trendy at the time as well.
Yeah, totally. Because I can imagine maybe 20 years down the road, a blurry photo is going to be like, no, like, what was I
Yeah,
thinking?
right. Like not in style anymore. Who knows? But like, I don't know. It's like when we look back at like photos from the 80s, you're like, whoa, that's like super 80s,
Yeah,
when that time period was. And this might be one of those things too. Where you're like, oh yeah, remember when that was so cool and everybody was doing these blurry photos? Like
absolutely.
it's fun. It's so
It is
fun.
totally.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun. And that's like again where Instagram comes in and Pinterest when you can kind of get these like funky ideas and what people
Yeah.
are doing right now and just try it. Why not?
So fun. So fun.
So fun. That's another thing I love about you is that when we first started chatting I think that very first like call that we had, and you were telling me about, these things you wanted to try. And I was just like, oh my gosh, yes, like please hire
Yeah.
me. Cause I'm like, I love you. I want to do these
Well,
things too.
you say that because I think I had filled out your your little application on your website or online, and I think it wasn't even an hour later you sent me a full-on email. I still have a screenshot of that email because it made me so happy of how excited you were, and you just
I
like
was.
totally got my vision, and then we just clicked. It was
Yeah,
great.
we did. We did. I was very excited. I was just like, I need to reply to her right now because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm already like in love with her. And I'm like, how do
Oh
I make this happen? No,
my,
it was great. It was
so awesome.
so awesome. So great when it all works out. Okay, so we're gonna start wrapping things up. I was wondering if you had any vendor shoutouts. I know you already kind of plugged your friend and Nick there with, what was it called? Her
Uh,
planner thing?
Girl with a planner.
Girl with a planner. Yeah, that's pretty easy
Yeah,
to remember. Actually, I
yeah.
should have remembered that. But what other like vendors have you enjoyed working with so far?
Yeah, definitely. I guess a telltale will be, I think, probably after the wedding, once people have had a chance to kind of, perform and do their due
Yes.
diligence.
Oh, absolutely.
Or just kind of the planning wise, Rolling Greens has been really great. They sit down with you and kind of get to know you, what your vision is, all your details of what you want and what's important to you. They've been really great so far. Joyous Occasions has been great with getting all the linens organized, and they also help you create your visions. They have all varieties of stuff to choose from. You can kind of really create your vision. I do have to shout out my sister too with the Ash Edit Company. She custom designs all t-shirts, apparel, cups, you name it. She has everything. So that's been really handy with, asking my bridesmaids and everything. She has so many good ideas, and she's
Aw.
been great, like helpful, and really grateful for her as well. So yeah, those are the kind of key ones that I've really been enjoying working with so far. And I'm sure, well, yeah, like I said, once the day finally comes, I'll have so much more to say about everyone involved. I'm really, really excited.
Yeah, I should almost have you back on again after the wedding, like a few months after the wedding, and we should like recap and see how everything went. And it'd be kind of be fun to have
Oh,
this like before and after episode.
can we please? That sounds
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, and what is your very like last official question? What is one piece of advice overall that you would give couples who are going through the wedding planning process?
I would say just soak up the experience and enjoy it. I kind of touched on before, you can kind of get swept up in the planning process. And I mean, hopefully, this is the only wedding you're going to plan and everything. So just try and enjoy it, because you are going to miss this one day of just being engaged. And you're never going to be engaged again. So just soak it up and enjoy the experience. And as hard as it may is, try not to get caught up in the planning and everything, because the main picture is you getting married to the love of your life, and that's the most important thing. So just try and soak up every minute of it.
I love that advice. And you know what? I can speak from experience as well. And like, I guess just totally echo that. Like, enjoy this moment in time when you guys are engaged, because it's really short. It's a
Yes.
really short stage of life. Like actually some couples are dating way longer than they're actually the period of their engagement is, right? And, for me and my husband, we were like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, done. We like, we started dating. 4 months later, we were engaged. And then wait, oh my
Holy
gosh. No, it's crazy. 5 months
oh,
later, we were married.
wow,
We met in October, and then we were married in October. So it was like,
folks.
yeah, it's crazy. We were super fast. So, and I wouldn't change that. And like some days I'm like, I wish we would have just got married, right? Like, you know what I mean? There's times when I'm
Yeah.
like, I could have just like eloped and got married and not planned anything. But
Right.
there's also part of me that's like, man, I don't even remember like when was the stage we were dating and when were we engaged? Like it all just blends. And then like it would have been really fun to have that period of time been a little longer. Like you're saying, having this little bit of a longer engagement, a year and a half, like it's so fun, and you have like that excitement, your wedding's coming and you get to
Mm.
plan together, and like I don't know, I just think it's really special. And it, in the big scheme of life, it's a super small stage or season, And yeah, just enjoy it. That's such good advice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Couldn't agree with you more.
That's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So Jenelle, at the end of all of my episodes, I'm doing these snapshot questions. So we're just going to go through them. There's 3 questions. So number 1, what are you reading or watching or listening to right now?
Oh goodness. I am sucked into the Vanderpump Rules train and I can't stop. I can't stop. It's the most trashy show ever, but it just sucks you right in and I am loving it.
You are not the first person that I've interviewed who has said that. That's so funny.
I'm not really reading anything right now. I do like to always have a book on the go, but currently I'm not really reading. What I do like to read are kind of, psychological thrillers, romance, and all that. And of course, Colleen Hoover, my girl, as always go to. Always recommend her.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And number 2, what is your coffee shop order?
Oh, goodness. Probably just a good old half coffee, half French vanilla from Tim's, a caramel mocha from Starbucks, and then my ultimate favorite from Second Cup is a vanilla honey tea latte.
Ooh, that sounds yummy.
Christmas in a cup. It's divine.
Oh, that sounds so good. I'm loving. I'm going to have to make a list of everybody's answers to that question because I'm I have to go to all these spots and try all these out. I'm going to have to plan my wedding consultations around which drinks I want to try.
Totally. That's a great theory.
Yeah. Okay. And number 3, what is a random pet peeve that you have? It can be anything.
Honestly, this is a tough question because I can't narrow it down.
There's too many.
Honestly, yeah. I can't think of one.
That's okay.
Horrible to say.
No, that's okay. That's so funny. There's just too many. Lots of pet peeves.
Right.
No, that's great. Okay, well, that concludes our little interview. Thank you so much for coming on. You're going to be my first bride-to-be interview that I have on the podcast. So that's just I think it's going to be really fun for everybody to hear your experience so far and kind of you're right in the middle of it, 6 months to go. It's so exciting.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor and congratulations on this podcast. It's going to be so amazing. I've been listening to all your episodes you've released and they're so good. They're just so good to have on in the background and to listen. And I could listen to you all day long. It's such a huge accomplishment. So congratulations on everything. And thank you for having me. And yeah, hopefully we can, maybe meet up after the wedding and chat about things post-wedding.
I would love that. I was saying I need to do that with all of my brides now because what ends up happening is I basically fall in love with you guys and then I miss you. I'm oh no. I'm we've spent all this time planning and chatting and then I'm I actually want to keep hanging out with you. So yeah, we'll make it happen. And we still have to get together for coffee and go over everything. And I know you wanted to show me pictures of your wedding dress and I really want to see them.
I sure do. I look forward to it.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll chat soon.
Sounds great. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you found this episode helpful, it would mean the world to me if you would take a quick screenshot and share it to your Instagram stories. It is the best way for me to get out the news that this podcast exists and that it's helpful for couples who are planning their wedding. Don't forget to tag at Rebecca Westman Photography. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I will see you next Tuesday with a brand new episode, and until then, happy planning.